Hello, guys. Welcome to another lesson with Sanchez over here, Mr. Sanchez over here. Today we're going to be covering geometry lesson 5-1, distance on the coordinate plane. So our learning target today is going to be use the distance formula to find the distance between 2 points on the coordinate plane. Okay. For those of us wondering what is the distance formula, I have written it down right here. The distance formula is this big chunk type thing, all right, where it's um, d is for distance, right? Is going to equal to the square root of quantity y2 minus y1 squared plus x squared minus x1 squared. Now, this looks like a lot of information to take down, but remember, these are just these where this is the distance formula, right? Where x1, y1 is the coordinate pair of point A, of the first point of your first point, and then x2, y2 is the coordinate pair of the second point. You actually don't have to write this down. And I'll go into more detail what this means, okay? So we're just gonna show you guys two examples, all right? And then you should kind of get the idea, right? So right here, when we're talking about distance, if we're trying to figure out how far it is from point A to point B, we wanna know what this length is. What is AB, right? What does AB equal? Well, that's the distance, all right? So to get that, you're gonna let I be point one, and then let B point number two. So this is number one, this is number two, right? So let's look at the ordered pair of this. So this is 1, comma 1, right? We go 1 to the right, 1 up. And let's look at this at B. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So its x value is 4. Its y value is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So since A, A is 0.1, x1 is going to, so A is equal to 1, comma 1, and B is equal to 4, comma 5, right? So then we're going to label this, all right? And then let me separate this a little bit. We got to label our points, right? So because A is 0.1, we're going to call this x1, y1. And since B is our second point, we're going to call this x2, y2. Now we have the coordinates of our points, right? So we're just going to plug this into our formula, right? And remember, the formula says it is the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. All right, now let's plug in our values. Now y2 is 5, so 5 minus, and y1 is 1, right? So 5 minus 1 squared. Oops, why isn't my pencil ready? All right, so we're going to get 5 minus 1 squared plus x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 1 squared, right? And you're gonna keep following this formula. So then 5 minus 1 is 4. We're gonna get 4 squared plus 3 squared. And then we're gonna continue this over here. Okay. So then 4 squared is 16. 3 squared is 9, right? And we're gonna go down. 16 plus 9 is 25, which then gives us the square root of 25 is 5. So the distance between A and B is 5. And that's how you do it. You just gotta label one point as 0.1 and the other point as 0.2. And then so we've labeled that. 0.1 is gonna give us x1, y1. 0.2 is gonna give us x2, y2. Remember, the first value is always the x value. The second value is always the y value of our point. And now we know that this whole distance is 5, right? And you're gonna get problems where you gotta do it off a graph, but you're also gonna get problems where you have to find the distance between points given like this, the coordinates, right? And this one's a little bit easier because you don't have to do the step where you gotta find the points, right? So we're gonna let this one be point. It says find the distance between the given with the points with the given coordinates, right? So we're gonna call this one. This is 0.1, and this is 0.2, right? So that means x1 is equal to -8, y1 is equal to 5, and then for x2, we're gonna get 7, right? And for y2, we're gonna get -3, right? All right. Now is just the thing we gotta remember is the distance formula, right? So that's y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. And some people might have the formula switch where it's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. It's the same thing. It's just a matter of preference, right? So this is the formula, and we're gonna rewrite it over here with the actual values, right? So x2 is 7. Nope. y2 is -3, right? And we're gonna do minus y1, which is 5, minus 5 squared plus, and now we're gonna do x2, which is 7, right? Minus x1. X1 is -8, so -8 squared. That's gonna give us the following problem. -3 minus 5 is gonna be -8 squared plus, and remember this here becomes plus, right? So 7 plus 8 is gonna be 15 squared. So it's gonna be the square root of 64, right? Plus, and then 15, I don't know off the top of my head. So let me get a calculator. 15 times 15 equals 225. All right. And so that plus 64 is going to be square root of 289. And we can leave our answer like this, but let's see what the calculator here says is the answer, which is actually a perfect square, which is 17. So feel free to use a calculator in this section at this point, right? You'll get credit for both of these. I don't expect you guys to know that this is the square root of 17. That's the square root of 17. Even I didn't know that, okay? So, yeah. The distance between 2 points is 17 units. And that's it. All right. And that's how you do it. We're going to practice more in class. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Just ask them during our Zoom sessions, right? Or on Schoology. Else, have a great weekend, guys. Great day, guys. I'll see you guys in class.